trials past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and might, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity. Babcock anthem in 1, 2, go. Hail Babcock, God's own university, built on the power of His words, knowledge and true service to God and man, building a future for the youth. Holistic education, the vision is still aflame. Mental, physical, social, spiritual, Babcock it is. Hail Babcock, God's own university, good life here and forevermore. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We can be seated. I want to quickly invite Dr. Adekoya for the opening prayer. Please, let's have it quiet. Please, let's have it quiet.
Yes, good morning, everybody. I'll invite you to please stand again in the presence of the Most High God. Let us all stand up as we take the opening prayers. We thank you because this is the day you have made. We thank you because of the brains behind this program we are about to start. Father, we thank you because you have given us life and you have given us intellect. And you said in your word that knowledge shall increase, men shall run to and fro. Father, in this day and age, we thank you for a thought such as this. We pray that as we are starting the program, that you will be with us in Jesus' name. Amen. Father, Lord God, we thank you for what Babcock University represents. As we learn new things today about artificial intelligence, especially in our world that is already declining, we pray that all the knowledge we will gain here today will be used to make positive change in our world in the name of Jesus. Amen. At the end of today, we pray that you take all the glory, while all blessings will be ours. In Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen.
Head of Department, Professor Kolade Ajilore. Please, let's make him welcome. The very first one, sir. Okay. I'm also very highly happy to invite to the high table the Chief Operating Officer of Verdant Zeal Group, Mr. D. Adeshida, who has graciously or highly instrumental in making this occasion possible. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate you. One of our facilitators, and she goes by the name Ms. Chisom Nwoko. Please make her welcome. We're going to learn more about her in a short while. Okay, so I'm going to give the mic right away to the Chief Operating Officer to tell us about what we are here for today.
I need to feel your energy. Good morning. How are you guys doing today? I guess by now I should be able to identify with Babcock now. I've been here, this is my second time. But then I have nephews and nieces that graduated from here, so this is like my fourth or fifth time here. So again, it's great to be back. Today we're going to talk about artificial intelligence, right? And just before I start the speech, I bring you greetings from Verdant Zeal, the board management and staff of Verdant Zeal. Verdant Zeal is an advertising and marketing communications agency. We started business in 2007, and we started the Innovention Series in 2012. And the whole idea for this series was to be able to talk about thought-provoking trends that can and will change the way we live, the way we work, the way we relate to each other. And this year, artificial intelligence has undoubtedly been the biggest conversation. And we'll talk about that in a bit. But just before I start my speech, I bring you greetings from the Executive Vice Chairman, Dr. Tunji Olugbodi, and all of our other staff members who are represented here by a couple of people. Today I want to talk about 3 important dates in this journey. Number 1, 2001, I believe, was when Nigeria got its GSM license to operate. How many of us were born by 2001? Here. How many of us were born after 2001? Nobody wants to talk about their ages. Okay, so I'll assume that a lot of us are like borderline 2000, 2001, 2002. It's fine, okay? The world is in your favor right now. When GSM started, right, there were these things called, the things we call palasas now. They were the reigning phones then. I hope you know that. If you had a phone that had blue lights, that had a ringtone that would do ta 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 ta, like you were a don. And mobile phone lines, GSM SIM cards that today we buy for maybe 100 naira, they sold for 100,000 naira at the time. Right? I'm sure some of our other people here can relate. So in 2001, if you had a Nokia 3310, which is like the OGs of palasas, you were a don. You were a big dog in mobile phone ownership, right? The phone was unbreakable. It was indestructible. It was everything you thought a phone could be. But in 2001, we didn't even know that we could take pictures with phones. We didn't know we could listen to music on phones. We didn't know we could send emails on phones. I'll move to the next timeline, 2007. Verdant Zeal started its operations in 2007. That was about 16 years ago. In 2007, the height of mobile technology then was a BlackBerry. How many of you have heard of a BlackBerry before? BlackBerry, all right? The BlackBerry was this business phone. It was ugly, but at the time it was the finest thing, right? If you needed to chat with somebody, you needed what they called a BlackBerry pin. Could it take the later models, right? Yeah, but the earlier ones couldn't take pictures. Like, it was just for emails and serious stuff. There was no WhatsApp per se. Facebook was maybe 1 year old, so was Twitter, so was MySpace was like the big thing, right? And so we thought if you had a BlackBerry at the time, you were the biggest dog in technology. Now, scale forward to 2013. Last week, the iPhone 15 came out, right? What can that phone do? Or rather, what can't that phone do? Pretty much everything, right? We would assume. But I can assure you that in another 5 years' time, you will look at the iPhone 15 and be like, what kind of palasa is this? The truth is that technology and everything that's related to it is constantly evolving. It is not even asking for our permission to evolve. Everything is moving, and it's moving at such a very fast pace. When ChatGPT, the lead or the poster child of artificial intelligence, came out, everybody was like, wow. So beyond Google, there's something that's even smarter. We can ask it questions and it will give us comprehensible answers without typos. Oh, wait a minute. We can put in our project topics and generate answers. We can even tell it how many words we want it to be. 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, right? But guess what? There are AI systems today that can generate videos, that can generate images, that can generate sound, right? Did you all see the Pope with that interesting thing he was wearing? Did you see that image of the Pope, right? And just to shock you, that is like the most primal thing that AI is going to be able to do. Just like a 3310 phone in 2001 or a BlackBerry in 2007. What you know of artificial intelligence today, in another 5 years' time, you would not believe that we were even celebrating ChatGPT in 2015 or 2013. So, what is the basis of this session we're having here today? You are students of mass communication at different levels, I'll assume. And in your classrooms and in the various places where you have conversations, you talk about different things, the kind of industry that you want to play in, the kind of services you want to offer, you know, the kind of person that you want to be. But you need to be very aware that there might be careers that will spring forth next year that are currently not in existence. Right? When mass comm in maybe 10 years ago, what you knew were social media managers, right? PR experts. Today you have content creators. Today you have data analysts. Today you have different things that have sprung out of how technology has evolved in the media space. Now, as you sit here today to listen to our erudite panel, I want you to pay attention. Now, don't listen like someone who has been dragged here against your will to just attend another session. I want you to understand that what is happening in 2013 will be nothing compared to what AI can do next year, to what it will be able to do in 2 years' time, to the kind of businesses you'll be able to start, maybe even from school, from uni, right? To the kind of collaborations you'll be able to form right in this room. Maybe your co-founder is sitting beside you. Maybe you're someone who is art inclined and you have someone who is tech inclined, and two of you can come together and create something really magical. I want you to listen with your inner ear today, because the world as we know it cannot be the same again. Because the tools at our disposal to get so many things done are so readily available. They're not even asking for our permission anymore. Things like ChatGPT, they're called large language models. Do you know what a language is? A language is an ever-evolving thing, right? There's no language that is constant. There's some words that we know today that 10 years ago were not in existence. So what is happening is that these things are learning. As we're putting in prompts, they are learning. They are learning how we talk, how we think, what kind of responses, the kind of edits we're making. They're pulling data from, large banks. And the likelihood is that they might get smarter than us. But that's not a threat, in my opinion. That's an advantage. It's like what a machine does for you. It saves you time to be able to do things that are more productive. In 2023, if you're still carrying a broom to sweep when there are options of hoovers and vacuum cleaners, it will be just because you want to do it, not because there aren't options available. So today I want you to listen. I want you to look at yourself in the context of the industry that you play in. Communications, content, marketing, and ask yourself critical questions. This AI thing that they talk about, what can it do to give me an added advantage in a world that is so super connected right now? How in my current state, year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, can this information help me make better decisions? What can I even start right now? What can I start in this university right now with my phone? With my friend, with a need that is within this university, a solution that I can start to provide. Since, after all, AI is going to save me time, so it gives me opportunity to be more creative. What can I do? I want you all to challenge yourselves. Our session is going to start in a bit, and a lot will be said. But the question is, what are you going to retain for yourself? Number 2, what corresponding actions are you going to take? Number 3, I want you all to be able to put yourselves 5 years from now and think, what is the wildest possibility that AI can possibly do in 5 years? And maybe start to prepare yourself for it. Like I told you in 2001, the best a phone could do was make and receive calls. In 2007, the best kind of connectivity we had was a BlackBerry. In 2015, what appears to be the best technology is only a platform for the next. So as you take time to listen.
Disconnected.
Hello? I want you to be more introspective, to be more inward looking, and be honest with yourself. And if you know you are not at par, give yourself a challenge. Tell yourself, I want to be the best expression of myself possible with everything that's available to me right now. All right? And as I close, I'd like to give you a charge to say that Babcock University on the outside makes us very proud. There are a couple of people that have finished from this school that have had the opportunity to work at Verdant Zeal that makes us say, that's a very good school. Be a great, you want to clap? All right? But then, like every other thing I've mentioned today, there are bigger stories that are yet to be told. And I believe some of them are in here with us right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. We are going to, very quickly, I need to also add that this series is actually a corporate social responsibility initiative of Verdant Zeal to help communication students, especially mass communication students specializing in the area of advertising, to actually identify opportunities that are, evolving in the era of artificial intelligence.
Greatest communicators, please. Our special guest, Mr. Adeshida, our resourceful facilitators, my colleagues in the department, our students, ladies and gentlemen, and not forgetting our invitees from the marketing and communication department. Good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure to be hosting this particular event. To me, the issue we are going to be discussing couldn't have been more topical. Again, I want to appreciate Mr. Adeshida for that wonderful preface, particularly your complimentary remarks concerning Babcock University. On the sideline, I was actually again discussing with him, actually telling him that for him to actually again come back to Babcock at this time and to be the convener of this particular event, it must have been the last time he came to Babcock University. Now, to me, I must confess to you that I have an open mind concerning the issue we are going to be discussing today. And I've actually come with my writing materials, my books and pen, ready to learn, possibly unlearn or relearn certain things that I've actually known about AI. Because to me, this issue has actually generated some controversy, particularly on the social media. And in my own little assessment, the argument is gradually, on a global level, is gradually skewing against the proprietary of AI. People have been talking about the influence of how AI is actually fueling unemployment, how it's actually sustaining and re-energizing disinformation and misinformation on the social media, and all sorts of anti-social things. So I think definitely to every invention, there will always be positives and negatives. We have learned the negatives informally. So I'm looking forward to how this platform will actually again change that narrative in terms of how we can employ AI to actually gain add value to our lives.
So if you can hear me, clap once. I can't hear the guys at the back. If you can hear me, clap once. Clap 2 times. Clap 3 times. Shout Babcock. Okay, everybody's with me. So I'm super excited to be here. My name is Chisom Woku. I am a software engineer at Microsoft. I work as a software engineer, but most of my work revolves around data engineering, big data, and artificial intelligence. So before Microsoft, I was a computer science student at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. I graduated in 2021. And after graduation, I was an intern at the Bank of America. I worked as a technology analyst shortly before joining Microsoft as a new graduate. Today, I'm going to give a presentation. Unfortunately, I'm using my phone since the electricity issue is still on. So today's topic is going to be about, will AI take my job as a creative? So this topic is something that has been talked about, like, I think the beginning of this year, or if I'm not mistaken, from 2022 downwards. So artificial intelligence is something that's evolving, and it's something that's continued to evolve over time. But this also presents, as much as it presents some challenges for people in the creative space, it also presents certain kind of opportunities. So what do I think a creative is? A creative is someone that generates ideas by themselves, and I'm talking about original ideas. So you can see yourself as a creative, maybe if you're in the visual arts industry, if you're a creator, if you're a photographer, and all other fields, right? And we're going to merge creativity with artificial intelligence today. I'm just going to do a recap of AI. AI is, or artificial intelligence systems are systems that are programmed or systems that are built to imitate human intelligence, right? So that's a recap of what AI is. And AI is, as much as it's going to cause a lot of imbalance, I would say, it's also going to affect the creative industry in some certain kind of ways. We're talking about the music industry, the filming industry, the fashion industry, and all other industries. So what's the potential impact of artificial intelligence in the visual arts industry? So I'm going to try to break down these technical concepts in the best way I can. So AI algorithms for the visual arts industry, we have something called the generative adversarial network that creates creates original images by itself. So how many of us have heard about AI generated images here? You see people take pictures on LinkedIn and they're looking very fine, and you're like, no, this is not you. So those are AI-generated images. What happens is that you load your image to this AI tool. Nice. You load your image to this AI tool, and what it does is it tries to imitate or it tries to copy exactly what it's seeing. So we call this the generative adversarial network. So I'll just give a brief description on, I don't know if it's possible to upload these slides on the screen. Okay, can I get 2 people? Anybody? 2 people. I hope I can explain this. Okay, just stand here. You're the generator and you're the discriminator. So she's wearing black, right? Just imagine that she's wearing red or something like that. And her job as a discriminator is to check if she's wearing red. So check, is she wearing red? No, just tell me what you're saying. She's wearing black. And the generator is like, oh, she still sees I'm wearing black. So she goes again to change it to another probably red outfit. And she checks again, is she wearing red? No, she's still wearing black. So once she finally comes as she is, like black, the discriminator will check again, is she wearing, I'm a little confusing myself. black every single time to make sure that the images that she's seeing is the same. And her job is to deceive her that she's wearing black. I don't know if you're getting this. But the job of this AI model, in conclusion, is to make sure that the final result of the image is very similar to what you took on your camera. That's why you see that most AI-generated images, you find little unknown faults in what you're seeing. The fingerprints and the number of fingers are the same in some cases. The facial expressions are the same. It looks very similar. So these two parts of the system, they are working together to make sure that the final result is the same. So that's for the GAN technology. Now let's look at music. AI powers music in terms of assisting musicians to generate melodies, harmonies, rhythms, and lyric writing. How many of us know that AI models can write you lyrics of songs now? Anybody? AI models, you can actually put in the genre of music that you want. Is it rock, R&B, jazz? Oh, sorry, those are instrumentals. Yeah, you can put in the genre of music that you want your lyrics to be, and it can generate lyrics for you. So let's see a few other things AI can help us do in music. Melody and harmony generations. AI algorithms such as recurrent neural networks can analyze existing musical compositions and generate new melodies and harmonies. Examples of these tools are the Google Magneta Studio. On Google Magneta Studio, you can push in a particular song and it can recap exactly how that song is, but in a different melody. So let's say a music goes like the original. I don't know how to sing, I don't want to do this myself. Let's say a music goes in a particular way and you want it to sound in a different way, the same lyrics, but you just want the sound of the music to be different. AI models can do that. So musicians can leverage this technology to try out different versions of their music or to check out like a different harmony that they want. Other things are lyrics writing. AI models just require the kind of language you want to use in your song. Rap music sometimes, I'm sorry, it's very violent. So if you put in like the violent keyword, AI model knows that all the lyrics that it's trying to generate, there will be some kind of like violent keywords in that lyrics. If you want it to be calm, if you want it to be romantic, just tell the AI model and it's going to do that. Examples of the tools that can do this are OpenAI's GPT-3 or ChatGPT. That sense. Other things are style imitation. AI models can actually read your music and mimic those styles. Let's say a particular artist like Beyonce, you want your AI model to mimic Beyonce's style to sound like Nicki Minaj. If you get Beyonce, you know that this is Beyonce. But if you want Beyonce to sound like Nicki Minaj, an AI model can do that. So that's what we call style imitation. Now, in the film and video production industry, this one gets very interesting. AI models can help you make your filmmaking process more efficient. How do they do this? First is script analysis. AI models can analyze your script for several sentiments like, oh, is this script a happy script? Is this a sad script? Is this an exciting movie? Is this a romantic movie? It can analyze your script development process and it can make it faster. Other things would be predictive analysis for box office success. This is the one I like very well. Netflix does this thing where when a video is published, you see this thing that you have like the first video in Nigeria. How many of us know that? Top 10 videos in Nigeria and all of that. So the AI model can actually predict if the movie that you are planning to push out will have box office success, if it is going to make waves in quotes when the movie is finally out of production. So this can help people in the film industry analyze exactly how well their movie is going to do in terms of budgeting, marketing. The AI model can even predict the particular region or the particular distribution strategy that will be okay for the movie. Examples of this AI model that you can check out is Cinelytics, Cinelytic. So now we've learned about different ways AI can improve our job as creatives. What are the essential skills that we need to learn? The first is obviously, it's a no-brainer, AI literacy. The this is what we're doing now, where I'm imparting that AI knowledge into you. So moving forward, you should try to understand and know more of these AI tools, know their capabilities, know their limitations, and the ones that exist already, like I mentioned with you. So don't be like, oh, AI is here, I don't really care, I studied mass comm, and at the end of the day, I'm going to be probably a journalist, a TV presenter. You should actually care, and you should actually know the tools that exist so you can make good use of them. Other things would be human-centered design. You should also know how to design with the end users in focus. I'll take ChatGPT for instance. ChatGPT has a lot of data, but if you notice, if you don't know how to ask ChatGPT these questions, it's not going to give you what you want. So have your users in mind each time you're going through a creative process. It might be music, it might be writing, it might be journalism, it might be TV presenting, it might be photography, and all of that. And this one is very interesting because as much as AI models can help us generate content, storytelling still remains a unique quality for human beings. Like we have. Be open to learning new AI tools. Study computer science doesn't mean that, like I mentioned before, doesn't mean that you shouldn't be interested in what they are talking about. Like some of you, I know some of you that are not really paying attention. So you have to be open to continuous learning and keep learning as you should. Other things would be cultural awareness. Creatives should also be aware. That is something that you should know, and that is something that artificial intelligence might not know. So you should also be culturally aware when you're trying to push out content. So let's look at the popular opportunities that AI can present to you as creatives. That's as AI-assisted creativity. Creatives can use AI as a collaborator to generate ideas, concepts, and content. AI can suggest visual designs, melodies, and also allow you to explore more creative pathways. So you can use AI as a collaborator. Other things is automation. When I think of AI personally, I think of automation. You can use it to automate your workflow. Me, for instance, I'm a YouTuber. I know the amount of time it takes me to write scripts before I shoot my video. But now ChatGPT is here, I do not really need to write scripts with my hand. I just plug in what I need to know, and I'm shooting my video. So that's the kind of automation process I'm talking about. Other things are creative entrepreneurship, using the skills that you have as a creator to suggest other AI tools that should be in existence. So as much as I am a software engineer, I might not know the pain points of a creative. So you can collaborate with software engineers or developers as a creative to build AI tools that can cater to the needs of the creative community. So challenges as well. People tend to lose originality and authenticity. Creatives must strike a balance between using AI as a tool and preserving their unique creative voices. So AI is here. AI is definitely not going to replace you completely, but don't forget about the creative side that you have inside you. You're a creative, you know the things that you're capable of. So don't dump that originality and pick up AI and you're not going to be unique anymore, because someone around the world or someone in another location in the world is using that same thing that you're using. So nobody ever replaces the originality that you present as a creative. Other things, like I mentioned, creative dependence on AI. Don't try to stiffen your own creative growth. Try to draw inspiration from so many places and just come back to AI and use it as your collaborator, not as the main thing. Other barriers will be access to AI tools. Some of these AI tools that I mentioned, so many people have found it to be very unique and is very sought after because obviously they are going to be very expensive. So the challenge that you have would be paying for these tools and actually funding yourself using these tools. So the one that is going to cause a lot of problem is ethical concerns. AI has a lot of issues related to bias, copyright infringement, use of personal data. There's this AI tool that you can impute something like, I want to see Elon Musk as a poor person in the slum. And you get that picture and you put it on the internet. That's infringement, that's bias, because that is not real. So we're going to face a lot of ethical concerns with AI, and I think it's something that the government should start to regulate before it gets out of hand. So I'll end by saying this quote by Jason Sylvia: AI is not about replacing the artist, it's about empowering the artist with new tools and expression for exploration. Thank you.
I think we can do better. Thank you so much for your very, very encouraging and very, very educative presentation. I know we are taking notes, but I think we can do these things without really causing distraction. Okay, we would have taken the documentary now, but there is still no electricity. As such, I am going to quickly introduce our second facilitator and also prepare him to come for his presentation. We have here today our second speaker coming from Slate Cube, Mr. Chris Wekowe. We are happy to have you here. Our second speaker is I want to kindly ask you to stand up while we take your citation. Our second speaker is Chris Wekowe. He's a highly rated young Nigerian entrepreneur, technology consultant, and the founder of Slate Cube, a technology company that develops AI-powered software as a service solutions for learning and workforce development. Chris sees the average young African as a global force to be reckoned with, and his tenets are embedded in his effort to make ICT the propeller on which the former thrives. Slate Cube was recently awarded the most innovative enterprise by Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, and has been acknowledged by Tony Elumelu Foundation. I am happy to present to us this afternoon our second presenter, a very well accomplished individual, Chris Wekowe. Please come to the stage.
Hi, everybody. Every time I hear recitations about the work that we've done in the last couple of years, it still baffles me. Good afternoon, everybody. I will still be standing on the existing protocol that we have. But before we do that, right, we're all young people here. And so the last thing I want to do is to talk to you, right? As much as I think I do have, or we do have domain expertise, right? I want to engage you as much as I can, right? Throughout the course of this presentation. Chisom said some very interesting stuff that I will be sort of rehashing, and then I'll go into like the crux of the matter. But before I do that, guys, can you guys please stand up? Just stand up very quickly. If you don't mind, and if you can, please stand up. Okay. All right. So I want you to just move your hands. I know it's hot. I know it's uncomfortable. I know some of you have been sitting for a while. Just move your body for a bit. Stretch out. Awesome. Thank you very much. You may be seated. Thank you. All right. Okay, let's settle down. This is going to be quick. So for my presentation today, right, but I guess a little bit of background. So I studied computer science, software engineering. I had the privilege of going to MIT. I actually went to Nnamdi Azikiwe first, and then I went to MIT for school. But here's the interesting thing I really wanted to point out. Sometimes we don't understand that the person that has the most to do with what happens to you is you. It has nothing to do with your family background. It has nothing to do with many other things. Of course, there's the place of God. But the person that has the most to do with what happens to you is you. How your story changes, what you choose to do with your life, if you're going to be a Forbes 30 under 30 lister, if you're going to be any of those things, you decide what you want to do. Because I think what people do many times is, and forgive me for trying to be a motivational speaker, but I think I have to say this, because you can hear all these very fancy, nice words about AI, about large language models, and all these beautiful things that are very relevant. But if you choose to come sit here and just listen and then you go back without any real intention to apply it, this would have been a waste of your time. And the last thing that I think you want to be doing at this point in your life, especially now that the dollar is it's $1 to 1,000, is to sit down and just while away your time. Because you'll be surprised. I graduated in 2015. I still feel like I left school, 2 years ago, and so much time has passed. And not to brag or anything, but I look back at some of my classmates and it's disheartening to see where a bunch of them are. So opportunities like this, you should be very proud of. You should be excited to actually have them and do the best you can to get the best results you can possibly get. Now, going back to a bit of background, we built SlateCube in 2014 while I was still in school. And the core idea behind the company was every year we churn out 15 million graduates from our universities, 15 million graduates across sub-Saharan Africa. 73% of these graduates lack the skills that employers are looking for. 70%. Now, it's not because there are no jobs. It's because we lack the skills that they care about. And so what these guys are doing is either they're exposing you to underemployment, they're exposing you to a whole myriad of really terrible experiences. And so you have people who finish school after 5-10 years without any real decent means of income. The purpose of teaching you about the fourth industrial revolution is to give you that edge, because you're going to graduate at some point in your life, right? And what then happens is you have to now start figuring out how to put food on your table, how to sort of build your career. And the last thing you want to worry about is not being prepared. You're going to be competing. Yeah, you might be the best student at Babcock, and Babcock is actually a great school. But then when you go out, you're competing with the likes of guys who are from everywhere else, including the guys who school overseas. What is going to be the edge that you have as a person? With all of that intro being done, today I have, I'm speaking on two things. The first one will be on, the ethical challenges, right, associated with the use of artificial intelligence. Chisom did a very fantastic work talking about just the whole idea behind artificial intelligence, applications, and all of that. My focus is going to be on the ethical challenges, right, associated with the use of artificial intelligence. We've talked about how useful AI can be. Chisom also mentioned some skills that you have to be conversant with. Now, learning how to use these tools is a very important, feature in the conversation that she had. I wanted to ask, sitting here today, right, how many of us have used or interacted with an AI tool before? Anybody? I didn't say tell me, I just said, have you? Good. Okay, so I'm going to pick one person from this side to tell me, anybody here, what AI tool have you used before? Just put your hands up. Please don't say ChatGPT. Snapchat AI, okay. Has anybody used any, music production tool that's built on AI? Nobody? Even your photo editors, and I think Chisom alluded to that, your photo editors, I forget what they call them now, the ones that sort of refine your look to make the best features you have pronounced, or to help you create like a profile picture for LinkedIn, right? Those are all AI tools that we've interacted with at some point. Now, I think the problem is when many people hear AI, they're thinking there is a specialized knowledge required for me to interact with the tool, but that's not the case. You ultimately have to, for the guys building, right, when we build AI tools, you're building it with the target customer in mind, making sure that the onboarding process is as quick and easy as possible. So you're very quick. Even the guys we've used ChatGPT, right? You see that GPT. You see that you enter the text and it gives you, it gives you the response you're looking for. And there's something I also wanted to highlight, which was these tools are so easy, such that the skill that's actually required of you is knowing how to ask the right questions, how to frame the right questions, and how to get the tool to give you the result that you want. It has the learning curve is so low, so your cognitive ability doesn't have to be super higher up there for you to actually interact with AI tools. Talking about the ethical implications, this is why it's important to talk about things like this. I have a friend called Lauda. I don't know if you guys have, I know this is a missionary school, so I'm going to pretend that we don't know what those songs are, but we know the Marvin records, right? We do know it. So if you listen to an Arya Stark song, you would hear Lauda in the very beginning. Now Lauda is a friend of mine, and he uses AI to synthesize sound and chord progressions so that it helps improve and have a pronounced sound for every artist that he's working with. The same thing with Johnny Drill. They do the same thing. Why this is relevant to you is so you can begin to understand that what we're discussing is not for computer science graduates or people who are in the arts or the creative sector. You're going to go out there, right, and play in a space where everybody has a degree these days, right? What is the differentiating factor for you? Being able to come out and say, hey, listen, I can help you craft very intelligent copy for your next production or for whatever it is that you're working on is going to give you that edge. However, I don't have the privilege to actually go into all of those details right now. The core concern, and I actually wrote this down, so I'm just going to read this out to you. As technology continues to advance at an unprecedented pace, we find ourselves navigating a complex terrain where questions of data privacy and ownership rights loom large. Let's begin with data privacy. When an AI develops something, right, what people forget to understand is that large language models, what they do really is, the engineers behind these tools throw in a ton of what is called trained data, right? There is data that is pulled together. So data are around registers, different registers in the English language, that's taken to create to give the AI tool the context that's required to understand how to respond to your questions. So when I say, for instance, I need to create a problem brief as a product manager. I need to create a problem brief on a software solution to solve access to funding for farmers. This is just a wild example. What the AI tool does is it goes out it checks the language model that is exposed to, the context that's conditioned into the language model, picks data from there that's relevant to agriculture, farmers, all that stuff, and then tries to piece that data to give you information that's relevant to you as the person asking the question. So the same thing with how you go about asking questions around, I need an idea for a book I'm about to write. These are the topics I have. This is my target audience. This is how long I want every page to be. Those specifications, it takes all of that information and sort of throws data back to you. So that's, with tools like this, what then happens is, because they have access to a wide variety of information on the internet, should they be allowed to get access to the internet, if you take those publications as a creative and you use that to create your own original work, you're going to be exposed to copyright challenges. Because I think only a few of them, ChatGPT for one, doesn't really check for privacy concerns. Usually you have a disclaimer where it tells you that, so and so and so have been sourced from so and so places, so you have to be careful before you make those things your original, or label them as your original work. But the problem here is you need to be able to, for every content you get or generate from AI platforms, you have to properly attribute to whoever it was or to the AI system, right? You have to attribute it, otherwise you're going to be exposed to copyright concerns, and that's actually a real ethical concern for most people. Now, I think someone will be asking, okay, great, we have access to all these AI tools. I'm able to do a bunch of stuff with artificial intelligence. How, in today's world, am I supposed to strike a balance between AI tools, right, and technology while retaining the human creativity? Interestingly, Chisom has also talked about the reason why AI will never replace humans when it comes to the creative especially, is because at the end of the day, you don't want to sound like an echo chamber. And AI for now doesn't have the capability to create new content that hasn't ever existed. What it does is an iterative model of picking what we've done in the past, make some small twists and additions based on what rules are placed into the large language model, and then churning out a result for you, right? That's what it does. And because you don't have access to all the libraries, all the blogs, all the news articles, so you get excited every time you send a query to like GPT. And so what is expected is you build whatever you can, you do whatever you can in order to build your own creativity as someone who's a practitioner in the creative space, right? And leverage these AI tools to help amplify what it is that you're doing. If you're not able to do it in the first place, the AI tool remains pretty much useless to you and for you. And so what you should be thinking about is, what am I good at? What is it that I can do and do very well? And then how can I use AI to help improve my productivity as someone playing in this space? Now, there are some examples, and I'll just read this really quickly. So one place where we've always had this question is around music composition, right? We all know, the conversations we've been having. We have AI-generated music, right? And it has actually been available for some years. I know 2023 looked like the year where we started talking very, very seriously about AI and how people are leveraging AI to do a bunch of stuff. There are artists, so I'll give you an example. Artists like Taryn Southern have shown us that AI can be a collaborator rather than a replacement. She used AI to help compose music for her album, I Am AI, where the technology was used to suggest melodies, chord progressions. I had mentioned that the guys at Maven use AI tools for chord progressions, right? So chord progressions and even lyrics. Then she went on to add her own emotions, and that's the beautiful thing about AI tools. And I keep saying this every time. For every technology that's introduced, if you don't have the creativity and if you don't have the know-how, that tool is going to be pretty much useless to you. So the guys who are going to have the edge in future, quite frankly, are the guys who are good at their craft, but had a very good grip of how to use those AI tools. Anyways, she then went ahead to, after all those AI-generated lyrics and chord progressions and all those beautiful fancy stuff that are the mechanical beats of music production, she went on to add her own emotions, her own understanding, her own real-life experiences, right, into the music. And that basically formed the album. Another example is in the visual arts. So there's an artist called Mario Klingsman. Now what he's done, right, is he's pushed the boundaries of AI in visual arts. So predominantly using AI algorithms, he's been able to generate unique and pretty much surreal artwork. Artwork that when you see it, you have that distinct feeling that you haven't seen it anywhere else before. So what he says is, pretty much as an artist, right, you have your palette, and then you have all the stuff you use to work. And in the same way you think about your paint, your brush, and all of that, you also think of AI as a tool that comes to complement. So things like color arrangements, what is the best way to create an artwork that appeals to
ladies under 20, for instance, or kids in a predominantly black school. So these are the kinds of things that artists have been able to use AI to help crystallize their thought process, but also magnify the essence of the content that they're building. All right. Same thing goes for the film and storytelling. I don't know if there's anyone who has any intention to play in that space. Anybody? Are we tired and hot? Okay. Oh, you guys heard me for that particular question. In any case, I don't want to spend too much time going through all of this, plenty talk. If there's anything I want you to take home from this whole conversation, is the fact that, listen, guys, please listen. It's the fact that domain expertise and context has always been the name of the game. It doesn't matter what technology has been introduced. It doesn't matter what tool has been built. And this is a very, very interesting example. In the short period of time I have lived, right, I've worked across different industries. And what usually happens is, it could be anything from, so I've played in the healthcare space. I had a chance to meet Bill Gates, actually, where we're having a conversation around investing in, African businesses that are solving social problems on the continent. I've had the opportunity to be in like meetings with people who have the money, but they're looking for very interesting ideas to play with. And trust me, they're not interested in AI. They are almost always interested in what we can use the technology to do based on the innate human abilities that we have. So it has nothing to do with the fact that it's a concept in computer science or software engineering has nothing to do with it being an ability that you need to, it being a catalyst that you need to help you create an identity for yourself as a practitioner in the creative space who has a very strong, solid knowledge of AI. And the reason why I mentioned the context of places I've worked is precisely this. If, what example will I use? We know Med, right? MedPlus. For those who stay in Lagos, you probably know the MedPlus brand, or Health Plus. Good. Now, Health Plus is trying to build a tool that will help them calculate the shortest possible time between their storefronts and B2C customers, right? Now, for them to do this, they need to get what they call MCAs. MCAs are medicine counter attendants, right? They need to get different professionals across different spaces. You would think that all they have to do is call a software engineer to build a simple tool that helps them do this. The point is, domain expertise and you having the context is always going to be what helps these big companies sort of go about building, how they go about building these solutions and these tools. Final thing before I leave the stage. 2015, right? I had a very interesting offer from a bunch of people, right? And the reason why I say this is going to be apparent at the end of the conversation. In 2015, Microsoft, Google, and it was Boston Medical, right? Were crazily looking for young black people to fill up roles in the States, and thankfully I got, I had those job offers and I looked at them. And it was not because of the fact that I had one of the best grades in school, not necessarily that. It was because prior to leaving school, I was already playing with building solutions to real problems that people experience. It was because everybody is going to, like I say this every time, people are going to graduate, people are going to come out with, their, first class and or whatever we call those things, right? They're going to come out with those very fancy degrees. But what companies care about is your ability to actually add to their bottom line, beyond just being a cog in the wheel. They want to see how, with what you've studied, what is that edge that you have, right, that makes you an asset for them. And not just the fact that you've come out with, like, you're done with your school, your schooling and you're out. Thank you very much for listening. Talk later.
Want to honestly thank our presenter, Mr. Chris Wekowe, for that very inspiring and educative presentation. At this point in time, I'm going to be posing some questions to the presenters. While I am doing that, I also want to ask one or two of us who may have questions, but let's pay attention to the questions I'm going to ask so that if we have addressed your concerns already, you don't need to bring up those questions. If you want to write them down, it's fine. If you want to come up stage and ask, it's also fine. But I'm going to quickly ask, I'm going to start with Mr. Chris Wekowe and ask this question based on the presentation and perhaps to bring home the points clearer to us. What role do you see human-AI collaboration playing in the future of creative industry? What role do you see human-AI collaboration playing in the future of creative industry?
Hi. It's interesting. I actually do have a few points, and I'm just going to run through them very quickly. So as I had said earlier, right, AI will never be a tool that replaces our jobs. Instead, it's going to be a tool that complements what we do. And this is very relevant for the creative space. So the first thing is it will actually boost your creativity, right? The less time you spend thinking about how to start, and the more time you spend looking at suggestions and options that you can play with and explore, right? It's going to help you finally find the right expression that you're looking for. And it's very simple. I'm trying to write an article for whatever it is. I can simply send those questions to a tool like ChatGPT. It generates options for me, and then I look at it and I'm like, you know what? This is going to tell a better story for me. And then what I do is I craft it out to reflect my own emotions, my personality, my interest, and then that way it tells the story better and faster for me. The second thing is, content generation. It's still the same thing. You don't have to sit down and start thinking of how do I put together content for like a social media platform or like this or like the other thing. You can simply say, hey, I have 5 days in a week. I need to post 10 times. I need to post twice every day. What are the ideas I can put for a Monday motivation, right? What stories can I use to tell this? And then it gives you options. You craft that quickly and you're done. The other thing is data-driven insights. And that's the most important thing too, because at the end of the day, if you're writing to the wrong audience, no matter how much language structure you throw into this and how beautiful your sentence comes out, if you're speaking to the wrong people because you don't have the right data as to your, that's going to be problematic, and you pretty much wasted your time. There is talk of efficiency and productivity, but I think we've already addressed that in the initial presentations.
Thank you very much. And the next question goes to Ms. Chisom. And that is, what specific technology within AI do you believe will have the greatest impact on the creativity industry?
Okay, I think I talked about it during my session. I would say it's the generative adversarial network, the GAN network. And this is the technology that generates realistic images. When you look at your image, you can't tell the difference between the real thing and what the AI model has generated. So I feel like that's a tool that's going to make a lot of waves. And not just for images, it can be applied to video content as well, art. You don't really need to stay to like paint something from scratch. This is something, or this is a technology that can generate these images for you depending on what you feed it with. So it's a very powerful technology. It has been in existence for quite some time, I think 2012, but it's something that's starting to evolve and is going to impact the creative industry a lot.
Thank you very much. And I'm again going to ask Mr. Chris to tell us, are there any potential risks or concerns associated with over-reliance on AI in the creative process? Concerns or potential risks associated with over-reliance on AI in the creative process?
Straightforward answer, yes, there are. And of course, the number one that comes to most people's minds is job displacement, right? There is definitely the risk of job displacement.
if I need a copywriter who pretty much gives me the same kind of content as I would otherwise get from like a tool like, ChatGPT, then that already means I'm most likely going to discontinue that engagement with them, especially if they're not able to bring in that human touch and creativity and, express emotions through the kinds of content that they're putting together. So it's a real concern. I would also say there's something called homogenization of content. Homogenization simply means everybody begins to sound the same way, right? Because we're getting content from pretty much the same place that's trained by the same set of people. And this is what happens. The classic example is many of the content that we see and understand to be the standard for what is good tend to be for a white population. And that's because most of the engineers working on tools that you all interact with are white people who don't understand the pain points that you experience. They don't understand what it means to even live in Lagos. They don't understand the stress and the struggle it means for you to be Nigerian. So the real challenge with AI is because there's a very small, close-knit circle of people who have that domain expertise when it comes to writing or creating this AI technologies, right? It usually, what ends up happening is that we all begin to sound the same. So that's the reason why there's going to be a huge demand in the future for a lot of local, and that's what's happening with Netflix. In the last 2-3 years, we've been seeing a lot of local content being created. In the same way, they're going to be hiring local talent in specific industries who have domain expertise to help expand the scope of the content that you sort of get from AI tools going forward. And this is just two of several examples.
Okay. I really love the points, really solid points. What he mentioned about most of these models being developed by white people. Like if we know OpenAI was developed by Sam. Sam is a white dude. And AI only thrives on the data that you feed it with. So AI will not know the name of your village. AI will not know the exact culture that you stand by. So moving forward in the future, there will be a lot of loss of originality. We're going to be so infused into this thing, if care is not taken, that we lose our sense of culture, authenticity, and it's just going to be really bad. So as a creative, try to go back to your roots. Try to always be original in any way that you can. Like you mentioned as well, AI only thrives with the data that you give it. So if it doesn't have that data, it's not giving you anything back. So everything still falls back to how creative you are, and you shouldn't allow these technologies to dampen your creativity.
Okay, thank you very much. So AI is nothing without content. And you spoke about, collaboration, using AI as a collaborator. So I want to ask, what are some potential future scenarios where AI and creativity intersect, and perhaps enlighten us more on how we can prepare for them?
Okay, so obviously there would definitely have to be collaboration. I think my first point would be AI literacy first. We tend to conclude that so many people understand what artificial intelligence is, but so many people don't really understand what it means. So firstly, try to educate more people first. Then we now come to the point of collaboration, giving people a change of mindset to adopt these new tools. So you're not seeing it as, so many people see artificial intelligence as an enemy. So many people see it as, oh, it's coming to take my job, I'm going to be jobless. No. If you change your mindset from seeing it as an enemy to seeing it as a collaborator, a buddy, in quotes, that can assist you, that can handhold you and all of that, see it as a collaborative partner that would work very well with you as a creative as well. Then moving forward, there will be also some challenges when creativity meets with these technologies in terms of the ethical issues that would arise. People would start pushing out duplicated content, like I mentioned, the originality thing. So as much as it's going to be a very good improvement in the technology space, we should also make sure that we're doing it in an ethical manner. You should make sure that you're not doing anything super bad with artificial intelligence. So there's going to be the good, there's going to be the bad, but I'll end with seeing AI as a collaborator and an something that can help you automate your tasks, and something that can just help you ease off the stress with your creative process.
Any question? Okay, I think we have some. We may not be able to take everything, but I will see how much of that we can take. That is if our concerns are not already addressed. Okay, I'm just going to, the questions are not directed to anybody in particular, so I will just ask the presenters to speak to them. And, okay, so I'm going to quickly read them. Can I say that AI cannot support the area of news reporting and education? If there is, how? Area of news reporting, okay? And somebody said, as shallow as it may sound, how can AI help me make money as a student now? Another person asked that, as someone new to AI, where can I start from to get more involved in the AI process?
Yeah, I think we should take a few so we don't forget.
All right, you can go ahead. Yes, go ahead. I have
AI to make money.
How can I use AI to make money? Where can I start? How can I start to get more involved? And somebody is asking perhaps its usefulness in news reporting.
All right, let's go straight to money talks. And I think that's a very fantastic question you're asking. The truth is, I can give you one or two ideas, and I'm happy to help whoever it is sort of explore what might work for you based on what you know and what you've been able to do in the past. But I think a straightforward answer is, what are those typical processes in the creative space, right, that are time-consuming, that require a lot of, and then that, sort of cost money, that you can actually, in your free time, use the AI tools you're comfortable with, right, to help quickly generate content and sell to supposed, vendors. Right? I'll give you an example. So there is most newspapers in South Africa have a column where they talk about a variety of things. And they actually pay people, right, to put up content that they can use. Something you can easily do with a tool like ChatGPT, which pretty much everybody I think knows, is how can you quickly generate different content ideas, rephrase how the story is told to reflect your own sort of style, and then sell to these news houses. This is just one example. How can you start a blog where you tell, stories that you can quickly generate using a tool like ChatGPT, where you bring in your own unique experience to craft out those storytelling, to craft out the story. So I'll give you an example. I was born in a village in Abia State in Umuahia of Abia State, for instance, and every morning we sort of go out to fetch water with, what are those things called, pots on my head. That's a very interesting story because most people don't have that. Most of those things, you might not find it, right? There are unique experiences that you've gathered that you can take and use content on the fly and sell to news houses or sell to like blogs or sell to like people who will be very interested in that. Another thing is you can just simply help, you can go to like any production company and say, hey, can I work with you on a part-time basis to help you proofread content? Then you take whatever content they have, throw it into a tool like ChatGPT and ask it to find error, help phrase those content, and you send it back to those companies, those news agencies. That's something that you can explore.
Okay, then for the news reporting question, I think it still boils down to what he said about creating content ideas. Let's say you are a journalist in a very hot region and you think we're speaking out of the blues is sometimes you don't really know how to correlate what you want to say. So AI can help you, or in this case, ChatGPT can help you with the grammar and language side of things to just help you give your story a certain kind of structure as well. And also with recent information, because like I said, AI thrives on data that it's been given. So if the data is already on the internet at that time, AI can generate a certain kind of storyline for you, and it's something that you can always edit and just use it in time.
Thank you very much. I think the first question here, has been addressed. The ethical challenges, I think we have, a lot has been said about that. But the question that follows is on, this person is asking what will happen to photographers, since nowadays people prefer AI and it's more cheaper than hiring photographers.
So I understand where whoever asked this question is coming from. However, to a large extent, that's not really the case, because you have to first have the picture, right? And then you can apply whatever, like you can put it through like whatever AI engine. Except you're talking about the need to generate images that don't already exist, right? For the purposes of whatever it is. But even, and this is what you're forgetting, right? The AI system that generates these images has to work with, and I said this before, someone with domain expertise. And it could be a photographer. The photographer knows how they go about taking certain kinds of pictures to evoke certain kinds of emotions. So photographers should be thinking about, and I think it's a very interesting question, because for whatever it is that you're doing, you should think about it beyond just the physical interaction you have with your camera. How can you start up how can you differentiate your photography studio from the next person? You can simply say, hey, let's take it. We can have a fantastic, but I can help you generate custom images that do so and so with the that I've taken. That becomes your differentiating factor and the edge you have over other people playing in that space as a photographer. So in anything, you can bring any example, and I'll tell you how AI serves as a tool to complement and improve your productivity, as opposed to being a tool that kicks you off being able to generate revenue.
Thank you very much. Just hold the mic. The next question is for you, and it says you talked about job displacement. How would AI affect the business world, and what effect does it have on the world? On the world or the marketing world? Also, will AI replace the business analysts?
Question, very interesting one. Again, so this is my thinking. Any role or job that is repetitive, that has an established pattern, right? There's an established pattern to how you go about daily basis, has a strong likelihood of being replaced by AI. However, as a business analyst, right, you're bringing in the variables, and I said this before, AI would always be a tool to complement the domain expertise you have. It's never going to replace it. Even with guys who use AI tools to help them do trading and forecasting for like indices and like, market movements and all that stuff, they are trained by an expert, and they are constantly trained. And I like something that, I didn't catch his name, but he said, the thing with languages is that it's dynamic, it's always going to change. There are going to be there's going to be a new way of saying it, there's going to be a shorter way of going about it than what we've always known it to be. So for business analysts, you're going to go out of market or out of a job if you don't know how to use AI tools that improve your productivity. Because now employers are not going to be expecting you to do the same level of work that you would have done 10 years ago. They're going to be expecting you to do 20, 30 times more work than what you were doing 10 years ago, because now you're going to be benchmarked on your ability to, your creativity levels as opposed to the knowledge that you have. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, I really like what he said about business analysts not knowing how to use AI tools. Let's use this analogy. A carpenter has a saw that he uses to like chop wood, right? And he has been doing this for years and years. He has been making money in his company. And so one day the company buys an automated chainsaw. Does the carpenter lose his job? Yes or no? Does the carpenter lose his job? The carpenter will only lose his job if he doesn't have the knowledge needed to operate that automated chainsaw. That is the only way he will lose his job. If he does have the knowledge, he just drops the whole manual process of doing things and he just goes to like start operating that system. But if he doesn't have that knowledge, he's definitely out of the job. And the company will definitely employ someone that knows how to operate that machine. So that's another way to look at it.
Okay, thank you very much. This person is asking if AI needs data. I think the concern here is the safety of the data. You know, there are data safety concerns on the part of users. So how safe or what are the dangers associated with the data that we, put online? Okay, so that is what this question.
How will I say this now? As a data engineer, I understand that data is very sensitive, especially when it comes to like your very sensitive information like your name, your date of birth, the way you look and all of that. And I remember a certain time where this AI generated image thing was going on and people were uploading their images online. Oh, this is my AI generated photo. And I felt somehow about that because most of these tools aren't regulated yet. People are still experimenting with so many stuff. As I speak now, I feel like there are some people inside the room building more and more AI tools. So most of these tools aren't regulated, and I feel like it's something the government should start looking into before it gets out of hand. So I would say for now, before you try to upload sensitive information, especially your face and all of that into an AI technology or an AI model, you should do some more research about that so you don't end up seeing your face somewhere else that you are not, right? So there are a lot of ethical concerns, and the more AI evolves, the more the more the government will start putting more like restrictions and regulations that can help guard our sensitive information. So for now, I cannot say it's safe, but you should just be more aware of your sensitive information.
Okay, thank you very much. And
sorry, I wanted to add something very briefly. I think because it's an AI conversation we're having, speaking, if you have to do anything on the internet or anywhere at all, you have to be very conscious for the kind of data you're putting out, right? We are all unlocking our devices for the most part. This facial patterns, right? What's going to happen in the future is there's going to be new tech. It may not even be artificial intelligence. It's going to be something else that because you had used AI tools in the past and has captured your face, we know where you are, we know where you're going, we know where to find you. There's a pattern around that. So you have to be very careful. But be that as it may, right? It shouldn't stop you from experimenting and trying out certain things. I know very few people actually take the time to read the terms and conditions for platforms before we start using them. So we just accept and we go right into it. But it's a real concern, so you want to actually apply your mind to that.
Thank you very much. This question on how credibility of students, how do we assess the credibility of students' research in light of the praise towards armchair resources offered by AI? Perhaps. The issue of credibility in writing student research projects.
I think the first thing that came to our mind was there are tools that actually check for that. So it's a great question because with ChatGPT, I don't need to do anything. I really don't need to do much. I can just take my thesis work, the name of my project, throw it into the system, and it just gives me something that my lecturers most likely want to hear. So it takes the burden of verifying the authenticity of the content to the lecturers, and that's why it's very important that they are also conversant with these AI tools. But a simple answer is there are a lot of tools out there that allow you check for things like plagiarism, allow you check for things like the structure and the context, the structure and the arrangement of the sentences that gives away that this is from a predefined large language model. So that way, all those tools actually do exist. There was a conversation sometime about an audio that was out, right? And if you listen to it at face value, it sounds pretty much like a normal conversation. But thrown into an AI analyzer, audio sound analyzer, it showed that there were at least 4 different clips that were joined together to make it seem as though it was one audio. So there are a lot of, as much as there are all the tools that are helping you get productive and all of that, for cases where originality is very important, there are AI tools to actually check to see if that work is a genuine work, genuine creation from the creator, person who put that together.
Second to the last, after this, I don't think we will entertain more questions. But this person is asking, what word do you have for UI/UX designers who have given up on human ideas due to the takeover of AI?
Okay, so for the UI question, like you were saying, most of these things, we've already talked about them. For UI UX, that's user interface, user experience, it's more different because I would say the functionality of an application or a software or a website comes from the creativity side of you, depending on the kind of audience or the kind of end user that you're looking at. So let's say you want to develop a mobile application for market women in Ikorodu, for instance. You as a Nigerian, you understand how these women work, and you also understand that these women might not be able to use their devices the way high-end users would, right? So that is something you understand as a creative, and that is unique to your own self. This is something AI might not understand. So if you feed into like an AI model, oh, I need a UI UX wireframe or prototype that does this and that for so and so people in this location, they might not give you exactly, or it might not give you exactly what would appeal to the end user. So you can use it as an idea generator in terms of colors, layouts, and all of that. But it's still, the heavy burden still lies on you to fine tune that UI UX prototype to make sure that it fits with the needs of your end user.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your time, and we have really been enlightened in so many ways. In summary, if you have paid attention to the 2 presenters, you will notice that Chisom has given us a background into how the artificial intelligence invention is evolving, with presenting to us both opportunities and challenges. And at the same time, this is an opportunity, or rather, this has become a means, or this session is to enlighten us, is to create awareness, so that we can be better equipped on how to handle, on how to use and be better and to stay ahead. And you will also realize that the second speaker equally added to these submissions of Chisom that, you know, as much as we can do a lot of things with this invention, we also need to put into consideration the ethical concerns and learn how to work around, know how to work around them in order to be able to maximize the potential that lies in this very important technology. And on that note, I want us to give a very big round of applause to our presenters for coming and for helping us to better understand what we are dealing with and what we are going to be dealing with. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. At this point in time, unfortunately, we will not be able to see the documentary, But of course, we're going to make it available. I hope that we would have the soft copy to be able to pass across to us in our classes so that we can enjoy what has been prepared. I'm going to invite the Chief Operating Officer of Verdant Zeal to quickly do a vote of thanks, and shortly after that, we're going to do some presentation of gifts.
All right. Has this been useful? Okay. So on behalf of Verdant Zeal and all of the wonderful guys and ladies who came here to set up, we'd like to say thank you very much for giving us your time today. We'd also like to thank our facilitators, our panel. Please give them a resounding applause. Thank you very much, Chisom. Thank you, Charles. We'd also like to thank Babcock University for hosting us this day. I'm sure this is not how it is every day, right? Right? All right. I know that, sometimes technical things happen and there are glitches. But thank you very much for being a very attentive audience. Thank you to our hosts. Thank you very much for your time. Like we said, we are looking forward to the next set of people who are going to blow from here. Will it be you? That yes is very weak. Will it be you? All right. So everything that's been said here, take it, listen again, read up yourself, challenge yourself, partner with someone, take the time to develop yourself and be a better version. Also, this event is going to happen in Lagos. We're going to have the main Innovention Series on the 27th of October at the Civic Center in Lagos, Nigeria. Clap now, clap. All right. By this year, we would have been hosting the Innovention Series for 11 consecutive years. And yeah, clap. Thank you. All right. And so we will be expecting to see some of you. We will send a letter of invitation and we hope that you'll be there. And it's still going to be on this same topic of artificial intelligence and its impact on, the creative industries. So thank you very much. We're grateful for your time and we wish you a great rest of the day. Take care and God bless.
Thank you very much, sir. Very quickly, I would also like to welcome our faculty and to thank them for attending this very important event. I want to welcome Dr. Anasui. Thank you, Ma, for coming. One of the lecturers in the Department of Mass Communication, Dr. Olomojobi Oluwafemi. Dr. Ikpegbu Emmanuel, thank you for coming. Dr. Adekoya Ellen, thank you for coming. Dr. Ajegbu, thank you for coming. Dr. Aneto, thank you for coming. Dr. Atakiti, thank you for coming. I will not forget Dr. Ogunwemimo, she's somewhere around. Thank you for coming. And I want to thank myself also for coming. I am Dr. Akoja. Okay, at this point in time, we would be inviting Dr. Olomojobi for the closing prayer. And I want to thank all of you. Give yourselves a round of applause for enduring this very uncomfortable setting. We are sorry. We plan, we make plans, but at the end of the day, God has, overall decision. So sorry about the ambience, sorry about the situation. We hope that next time we'll have something better. Okay, just before Dr. Olomo Jobi says the closing prayer, I want to invite Dr. Ogunwemima. We have some little package for our presenters and our sponsors, our hosts.
All right, on behalf of Babcock University and Mass Communication Department, we would like to say thank you for honoring our invitation. Thank you for coming to share with us your wealth of knowledge. We hope that next time when we invite you, you would love to come here. We're so grateful. Thank you very much. On behalf of everybody here, we'd like to present this token to you. So please let's come as we have a photo shoot. I would like to present this to Mr. Chris. We'd like to present this last one to the CEO of Verdant Zeal. Let's put our hands together for him. He brought this to us. You are not clapping.
All right, so we'd also like to, please don't get tired. We'd like on behalf of Verdant, we would like to say thank you to our panelists again. So please, just a token of gratitude for taking your time and sharing. Yes, we are. Oh, okay. Thank you very much. All right, thank you. And to my bad, to our moderator, Dr. Akoja, please. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time today. Are you sure this response is not AI generated?